Well, hello, and welcome to the Legacy Insights Podcast. And I am your host, Mov'n Mike. And this is the Legacy Insights Podcast, episode number 16, season 2, y'all. Season 2. AI versus your paycheck. Adapt or get left behind. As I said, I'm your host, Mov'n Mike, on this beautiful summer Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Listen, I'm here to guide you to your goals and dreams. Simply put, I'm going to provide insight to get your mind and your money right. So it's time to let's get smarter. All right, I know it's summertime. I'm enjoying it. The weather's beautiful. I have my shades on all day, my Gucci glasses, but it's time to get down to business because, listen, if we don't get down to business, business is going to get down on us. Right, so here we go. Episode 16, AI versus your paycheck. Now, I hope you all got your pens and paper out because this is a jewel-dropping episode. I hope you got your pens and paper out. So I got my trusty show notes here. We're going to jump right on into this show, okay? See, this is going to be a core message that I'm going to share with you, and I really need you to understand that, this is not to scare you, but it is to wake you up. It is to wake you up. Okay. So AI is not coming for everybody's job, but it is coming for the task in the wages and your hours and your overtime. All right. It's not coming for your job, right? But it is coming for your pay, your hourly scale, right? Because see, they can do more with AI and less with you. All right, so that's that core message, right? So your plan is already under attack. So if you think that loyalty is going to keep your job, no, that's not loyalty is not going to keep your job. What's going to keep your job is what's going to be in this episode and what we're going to be sharing with you today. So let's get right to it. See, I'm going to be straight with you. Competition is no longer your coworker sitting next to you in a cubicle. Your competition is software automation, outsourcing, and the companies trying to do more with less. Okay. See, there was a time where they told you go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and the company will take care of you. Well, we already know that time has long passed. Okay, that time is long past. Now they say, all right, well, you get your competition is the kid next to you in class getting grades, or your coworker next to you who is who was kissing, you know what, with the bosses, right? Even nowadays, that doesn't even pay the dividends, right? It used to be the good old boys network. Well, your network is your net worth, okay? In that same sense, and knowing who to network with, right, will help you get the interview. But if you're not up on the skills and the tasks that are in that job or that position, guess what? It's going to go to the next person who was up on this new information, this new technology. So let's keep it going. So here's the current data. I'm going to break this down. So I'm going to get right to this. The U.S. employment was 4.3% in April of 2026, with 7.4 million people unemployed. Okay, whilst the consumer price index inflation hit 3.8 year over year, and energy rose sharply. Now we all know that energy prices are going up across the nation. Gas is at $4.50 nationally average. In California and some of those larger areas, it's at $5. Over $5 a gallon. Okay. And I'm saying this now because this has been going on for months. So this is not dated information. This is current facts. So energy is rising at an amazing rate. Okay. AI reports AI users at work grew from 30% in 2023 to 76% in 2025. So there you go. So the adoption of AI is accelerating. Microsoft says that AI agents are reshaping work. Okay. The WEF projects major job disruption throughout 2026 to 2030. That means you and I better understand what's happening at present and what's going to continue happening going into the future. Not the near future, the long forecasted future. 2030, 2035, 2040. Right? This thing is only going to get bigger, faster, and more prevalent in the workplace and throughout a society using this technology. You know, I actually did some research, and me and my network and my colleagues and my son, we are looking at that NVIDIA, right, to put AI data centers on residential homes. I don't know if you got that, right? But because of the way these data centers use so much energy in towns, they're not being able to support the water that it takes to cool off these supercomputers. So they're looking to put many data centers on residential homes. So please look it up. It's a real thing. So if they can make the data centers smaller and use your resources at your home, they don't have to build these massive facilities that take up all the town's resources. They can use them, make a lot of little small ones, and pay you directly. Now, from what I understood, they're paying about $10,000 to $20,000 a year for you to use your home to set up these data centers. Check it out, right? So it's here to stay. Okay, so some key points I want to touch on. AI is not just a tech topic anymore. AI is now a paycheck topic. If your skill set does not grow your income will shrink. The question is not, will AI replace you? The question is, am I becoming harder to replace? See, so are you upskilling? See, we're going to get into the solutions, but I need to make you aware of what's going on around you, the issues that you're facing. So if you're talking to your boss and your coworkers and the people around you, and they're unemployed, can't find a job, or your boss is refusing to sit down with you at your annual review and talk about giving you an increase, is because in the background, this is working. And they're waiting to see just how much they can cut the fat and trim the fat from the company's bottom line. And the company's bottom line, the biggest company bottom line, is employees. So if I can get one employee, or they can get one employee to do the work of three with the help of AI, because it's faster, smarter, and more productive, why do I need to give each one of you extra raise? I can get rid of two of you, keep one of you, and you can do the workload of three. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. So AI won't destroy everybody, but it will expose everybody. See, the exposing is a lack of knowledge, a lack of application of the knowledge. So if you're not upskilling, please, people, be aware. Please be aware. I hope you're taking notes here, because I asked you that you get out those pens and paper, right? Make sure that you're at the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you're getting this information. Okay, make sure that you're getting this information, because I'm bringing you real-time, real-world information. Okay, the AI takeover is already happening. See, so these are the practical AI uses. Customer service and chatbots are replacing call center workers. So if you're in customer service call centers, okay, AI is writing emails, reports, summaries, proposals, and marketing materials. I use it all the time. I use it all the time, right? In my financial services business, to help me run and automate all my customer contacts. I use it to help me get set up for the show and all the reports that I need to look at. I use it for my upcoming business ventures. and doing the background research for company setup and inventory and things of those natures. So I'm telling you, you've got to get your skill up. So if you're hesitant or you're something saying to you, oh, I don't need that right now, I'm gonna tell you, you're wrong. You need it. If you're just using chat for research and recipes and how to do things around the house, you're shortchanging yourself. Okay, a little tip for you. A little tip for you. Chat GPT is $20 a month for the paid version. Then there's Claude. Then there's a few other AI models I've just left my head. But if you're using Perplexity, you can actually get 3 of those AI models for the same price of 1. So that's a nugget right there. That's a jewel right there I'm dropping. So look into getting Perplexity. Perplexity will set you up with 3 AI models that you can use for research, business, and in design and creation for the same price as if you were paying for 1. Okay, so there you go. There you go. That's why you listen to the show, right? You get these jewels. Okay, so AI agents are handling scheduling, research, data entry, and follow-up. Banks are using automation for compliance and back office work. Retailers using it for inventory, pricing, and customer behavior. I just told you what I'm using it for, which is all these things already above, right? Normally, you would have to go out and hire someone to help with the show and help with the inventory and the automation, the emailing, and the customer contact and follow-up, right? Or go to the local college and hire an intern. You know, it's not bad to help an intern out, but guess what? You don't have to do that too much anymore, right? You would have to typically, you know, if you were creating some type of other content, you would have to have gone into what is it? Those older software programs like what is it? The Photoshop and all those types of things, right? To create all this graphics. Nowadays, you just prompt it in the right AI model, and it will create it for you, right? So all those technicians who have spent years and decades perfecting the craft of Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator and all those types of softwares are being basically pushed out of the market by someone who with half the experience in those softwares and more experience in AI modeled software and doing just a good job or even better in video creation and art, right? So be aware, okay? Healthcare, using AI for admin, claims report, and diagnostic support, okay? There you go. HR is using AI to screen resumes and rank candidates. We already know that you don't even go into an office anymore to look at or fill out a resume. You don't even do that anymore. You don't have to, right? It's a bunch of keywords that they're looking for in experience to get the job. And the crazy part about it is that it will kick you out even if you're the best candidate for the job because you didn't have the right keywords in there. And I can testify to that, right? It happened to me. And if I had not known the person that had, you know, who was I was speaking to, they told me, oh, well, wait a minute, let me go back in and look. And then when they went back and looked and said, oh, no, we got it. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you, please be mindful that these AI models are not perfect, but they can ruin a good thing because you did not have the knowledge to actually get into the running, okay? Please be aware of this. So straight talk, AI is not replacing work because it's smarter than you in every way. It's replacing worker because it's faster, cheaper, and does more tasks over the short period of time. All right, we've been talking about that, right? That's what we've been talking about. So the economic pressure is jobs, inflation, and paychecks. That's really what it comes down to, because they don't have to pay you more, especially if you don't have these skills. All right. So the current reality, unemployment is not sky high, but job security is weaker. So the unemployment rate, as I said, was around 3.4%, right? Which is not really bad. You know, it's not great, But the problem is, and I don't really like using that word, but it's a serious problem and the issue is that you don't have any leverage anymore. Right? See, there used to be where the smarter person in the job would be the candidate to keep. But just because you're smart doesn't mean that you're the most productive. Now, if you know how to use these tools over a smarter person, guess who's got the job? That's really what it boils down to. Okay, so we got to get this under wraps. So hiring is slower in many sectors. Inflation is eating away at the wages, as we already talked about it. Energy, food, insurance, housing, everyday expenses keep squeezing families. Okay, so if you had a decent paycheck and you're wondering why you can't get a buy because that inflation, you see, there's a buzzwords out there right now, affordability. And everybody's talking about affordability. I told you it's, the current administration is talking about it's a hoax. The only hoax with affordability is that everybody can't lower prices. Meaning that if everybody lowers prices, everybody's not going to make the money that they think they're going to make. So what do I mean by that? Affordability. When it comes to energy, let's put it like this. Let's get right to the point. When it comes to energy, they cannot make it affordable because the cost of it is the cost of it. You understand? If you use it, you got to pay for it. They're not lowering the cost. They're going to help you to use less of it, but that's not affordability. Okay, you're just using less. See, affording something means the money that you have will go further. So the cost of groceries, that means that all of the suppliers in that chain would have to lower their prices for it to be lower at the store. They're not going to do that. So you're talking about affordability when no one's willing to lower the price throughout that supply chain. So it's a hoax in that sense, but that's where the government and these manufacturers and suppliers have to step in. And until they do that, affordability is the hoax that they're talking about. Okay? See, so the governors and all of them are talking about affordability, but they don't have any real power to lower anything to make it affordable. You can only use less of it or buy less of it. Okay, that's not affordability. Okay, that's squeezing. It's the two different things. Okay, so here we go. When inflation rises and your income stays flat, you did not technically lose your job, but you lost your purchasing power. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the illusion of affordability. Okay, you're losing your purchase power. It's not affordable and you're being squeezed. That's losing your purchase power. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. When people talk about, oh, we're going to make it affordable. Well, no. They're not going to really do that because not everybody in that supply chain is lowering their prices. So it will not lower the prices at the shelf or at the pump. Okay, so here's some of the pain points that you're feeling. You know you make decent money, but you're still behind. You can't save like you used to. Everything costs more, but the race didn't keep up with the price of goods, right? Well, I was talking about that before, right? Because the AI is allowing the job to have more leverage over the pay in your position. So why should they pay you more? Because they're going to say the tool is doing the job, right? They can teach anybody to use that tool and get more productivity. So why should they pay you or the position, right? Because I used to tell people, and I still do, they don't pay you, they pay the position. The company knows that's why they have pay scales, because that position you're in is only worth so many dollars to them. And if you're not producing in that chair or on the floor or wherever you may be in that space, guess what? They're paying the position. They're not paying you. They're going to get someone in there who's going to actually make the money for that price scale that they're paying out. Okay, so let's keep it going, right? I'm afraid my job won't be there in 5 years from now. So we're going to talk about that, right? If you've in one of these positions that I just mentioned that AI has a real firm hold on, customer service, banking, insurance processing, and all those types of things, believe me, the squeeze is coming. The squeeze is coming because your job may not be there in a little while. So what are you going to do? Here we go. This is why the trend will continue. Businesses want lower costs. Companies want faster output. AI tools are becoming easier to use. Okay, I just shared with you to go out and get Perplexity, get those 3 AI models, learn to use them, right? And everybody's doing it. A lot of people are doing this already. Not everybody, because they're resistant to change. But you need to go out and do this, right? Employers are redesigning jobs around automation. So I've actually had and seen memos go around what jobs, what reports, what responsibilities and duties that you have can be automated, right? That right there is saying we're going to get a SOP, a standard operating procedure, write it up, see what AI can actually do. We're going to put some bots together to do so much of your responsibility and your roles, and we're going to phase that out of your responsibilities. Now you got less to do. Why should they pay you more? I've seen it. I've seen the memos go out. What work responsibilities can you automate? What repetitive operations do you do in your role day to day? Can we automate? And then write the procedure down. Write it out. I mean, literally, it's like telling on yourself. You're snitching on yourself. Right? They're asking for this information from top management, the senior leadership teams, to phase out some of your job responsibilities. So eventually that means they're going to phase out what? Some positions. They're going to start bringing teams together because they don't need all the extra manpower because it's all going to be automated. So entry level and routine tasks are most vulnerable. Workers who do not adapt may be pushed to lower paying roles. So this is the key warning. The company may not fire you because of AI. They may just stop promoting you, stop hiring more people, reduce the hours, okay, combine roles, and expect one person to do the work of 3. Just said it, right? Just said it. Because, see, it's cumulative, right? And after you start connecting the dots, all these things that I'm speaking to start to heading in one direction, right? They said it's a good thing you went a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way, right? So you better start listening before you end up going a long way the wrong way, okay? You got to learn. So here's the solution. It's all based in. I'm not going to give you all these pain points. We're not telling you and showing you how the Legacy Insights podcast can help you solve your issues. And it's in the 6 pillars of the legacy framework that the solutions lie. Here we go. First pillar, learn. Get educated before you get eliminated. Okay? Get educated before you get eliminated. Learn basic AI tools. Learn about personal finances right here. Hit that subscribe button. Scan that QR code that's here so that you can subscribe. And once you're on the page, scan that QR code so that you can go take that financial overview, learn some things, confirm some things about your financial intelligence, okay, because financial literacy is not enough anymore. So what you know? You need to be financial intelligent so that you can apply these tools, these tips, these strategies to your unique situation in family life. Let's keep it going. Learn your industry trends. Okay, you need to know where your industry is going, where your role is going. Okay, you need to be more proactive. Don't just find the issues in your job, find the solutions to those issues and then bring them to your manager. That's what makes you more valuable. Don't just tell them what's wrong or complain about what's wrong. See what things you can resolve and then take them to leadership. Which parts of your job can be automated? I just said that, okay? Because they're looking for that anyway. And if you can tell them, they say, hey, this is what we need in my role here, and they see you as the leader, the one coming to them with this automation tool, they may say, you're the person to lead the team. See, if you can start saying, okay, this is my department, this is it has been a bottleneck here, this has been a bottleneck over here. We are not communicating collaboratively. We're working in silos. All right, we need to bring all these teams together and collaborate so that we can get some things out the door. They may see you as the leader or as the support leader, project team leader, and give you those roles and responsibility and not those complainers. Okay, this show is about solutions. So learn how to use AI to make yourself more productive. Okay, that's it in itself. You don't have to become a programmer, but you do need to become a learner. That's the first pillar, learn. Second pillar, well, before I even get to that, I have a call to action, right? Like I said, this show is about action. This week, I need you to pick one AI tool, learn how it can help you in your current job, business, or household. I already told you, Perplexity. Go sign up, get those 3 AI models, take a course. I told you I took a course. I started a course about a month ago in data analysis, how to create charts, graphs in Power BI, right? How to see trends in data, sales data, production data, collecting data, showing it in a graphic form in charts and things of that nature, so that we can interpret it where we're at and where we're going and where we need to be. Okay, this is very important stuff. Okay, so here we go. That's the call to action. Pick one AI tool this week, learn it, so how you become more productive in your job. Pillar number 2, elevate. Upgrade your income before life forces you to. Okay, so you got to upgrade your income so that when you finally you're always going to need it, right? You got to upgrade your income. So how do you do that, right? Upskill. You got to learn some things, right? New AI models into a higher work value, right? Build digital skills. Start a side income hustle. Okay, I always talk about a side hustle, right? Even though you're doing this in your day job, you still need to find something else to do, right? And I've got a new flag to wave. Be dedicated to your job, but be loyal to you. See, because the company is not loyal to you. They'll never be loyal to you. They're loyal to the shareholders. They're loyal to the overall team mission. You need to be dedicated to your job, your tasks, and your roles and responsibilities, but you need to be loyal to your cause, your family, and where you're going. That's what this show is about. The legacy. How do you want to be remembered? Where do you see yourself going? Right? What do you plan on leaving as a mile marker in your life? Right? Be loyal to yourself. Right? Not your job. Be dedicated to your job. Be professional in your job. Right? But be loyal to yourself first. Okay? Build digital schools, start a side income stream, learn sales, marketing, leadership, communication, project management, AI prompting, right? AI prompting is huge, right? In financial planning. You got to have these skills. These are not negotiable skills. Okay, they're not. Okay, move from task doer to problem solver. I just said that. I just shared that with you. Please understand me. I hope you got your pens and your paper out today, writing down these jewels. They're just dropping like diamonds all over the place around here, right? Come on now. I wouldn't be sharing these things if I weren't doing them myself, right? And have to have done them myself. Like I said, I've got a lot of things, irons in the fire this year coming out and into 2027, right? I'm not new to this. I'm true to it. Okay, so if AI can do your task, you better learn how to manage the outcome. See, because AI can give you the task, the path, but only you can manage the outcome. Okay, AI can't do the work. It can give you the structure. It can give you the strategy. It can lay some things out for you. Like I have a 6-month calendar of operating procedure, if you will, just for this show, right? And I'm really working that calendar, right? But I've got to do it. I've got to manage the outcome. Every day I'm getting that much better at doing this, right? And we're going to get that much better doing it together. Let's keep it going. Okay, so call to action for step number 2, pillar number 2. Choose one income skill to develop over the next 90 days. What are you going to do with yourself? What side hustle are you going to implement and bring in? Something small. It doesn't have to be big. Guess what? It could be just going through your closet, your shed, your storage facility, and getting rid of some of that old stuff that you haven't seen in the last 90 days, the last 2 months. It's collecting dust. Maybe you want to have a yard sale because the weather's nice now. I started seeing a couple of those taking place on my daily travels, right? Side hustle, man. It's that money that you're bringing in, okay? So here we go. Pillar number 3, protect your money you already have, okay? So that guard pillar is huge, right? We are the human ATMs of our lives. We work hard every day. Most of us are on the 40-40-40 plan, working 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% of the pay. Okay? You better guard what you're working for, right? If you're getting up there in age, you know what I'm talking about. If you're just starting out and you got a young family, believe me, you better protect yourself. One of my posts this past week was, when it comes to life insurance, you don't have to believe in it. It's not a religion, but it is a tool, a wealth building tool. Because if something happens to you and your family, man, your family needs to be protected, because most households are 2-income households. So it will replace one income. Your child will have a roof over their head. They possibly go to college. The bills would be paid. Okay? Listen, I don't know when, but I do know soon or later, you ain't going to be with us. And like I said, even Jesus Christ didn't make it out alive. Now, he was born again, if you're a believer, right? But even he didn't make it out alive, right? So those of you who are not Jesus Christ, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So here we go. Get your skills up. Get one skill up in the next 90 days, okay? That's that one, okay? So here we go. When you're guarding your assets, you got to build emergency funds, reduce unnecessary debt, review insurance, protect income with proper planning, avoid panic spending. Oh my God, oh my goodness. Avoid scams using AI generated message, fake voices, and fraud. Now, everybody's got a cell phone, and they used to be impervious to scams and all types of downloads, right? Where they get into your phone with the different messages and stuff in the viruses. Well, now that's even possible today because it's so prolific. People are getting text messages from DMV and your bank. And I mean, literally, I had some guy call me, tell me he was from my bank, had the same music in the background and the on hold message, gave me a telephone number to call. When I called it, they answered it just like they were my bank. I was like, yo, these guys are good. Thank goodness. I said, you know what? Hold on for a second. Let me call the number on my card. I'll call back and see if they actually called me. So there you go. If you ever get a call from someone saying that they're your bank and they have this elaborate setup, say, thank you very much for letting me know that something's going on with my bank account or my credit cards or whatever, and call the number on your card or your information so that you can get to the true offices to check whether or not you're being scammed. Never take that phone call at first value. Okay, please do not. Do not take that first email at face value. Always hover over your mouse over a link to see what that return email address comes up as, because what they call that is a vanity link. Okay, those of you who work in corporate America, you know what I'm talking about. Work in office environments, but those of you who are at home and you see this, make sure that you're hovering over those email addresses, those links, to see where they actually are going to drive you to, right? Because as soon as you click that link, man, you hit. You're changing passwords, bank accounts passwords being stolen, all that. You should be changing your passwords every 60 to 90 days anyway. Okay, so let's keep it moving. All right, avoid AI generated messages, fake voices, and fraud. So this is the hotline. AI is not only changing jobs, it's changing fraud. Okay, you better guard your money, your identity, and your household. Call to action. Review your emergency fund, insurance, debt exposure this week. Okay. If you have not changed your passwords, if you have not looked at your credit report, look at that stuff this week. Credit Karma, Experian, TransUnion. Download the apps. Look and see. Check your paperwork. Make sure. And those of you who even have houses, okay, you may even want to do a title search to make sure no one's actually taking out loans against your homes. Okay, call it house stealing. Okay, if you got a big home, you got a lot of equity in that house, get some fraud protection. Okay, get some fraud protection. Pillar number 4, alignment. Now, I said guard was a big one, okay, because you got to protect what you've worked on. But alignment, I believe, is the most valuable pillar in the 6 pillars of the legacy framework. And here's why. You got to get the family on the same page in this right here. We're talking about this, but this alignment is huge. Talk to your spouse or your household about money pressures. Teach children about AI, work, and financial responsibilities. I watched a gentleman on social media sit down with his son and actually talk in terms of real estate investment, asking his young 9-year-old son about how money is being made in real estate. And that young man answered every question that he had. And I was like, wow, there's some things that I need to do with my grandchildren. What about yours? Are you having these conversations about wealth creation with your children? Making sure that they understand that there's a responsibility to money. Money's a tool. It's not a convenience. It's not a given. It's not something that just shows up. My granddaughter called me a little while ago, asked me for $45 to get on the beach pass. You know what? I said, you know what? I'd love to give it to you, but how are you going to work this off? How are you going to work this off? Right? This is not a gift. It's a responsibility. Right? How are you going to earn this $45 to have a good time now? Okay? Normally you would as adults, we have to put the work in first and then get paid. But with kids it's a little different. They happen to be out, they pop, I use a couple of dollars. Sure. But when you're going to come over here and do some dishes, right? When you going to come over here and do some dusting? This is my granddaughter, right? So I ain't going to have her doing too much with a shovel or nothing, but I might have her take out some power tools anyway, right? But it's still, right? Handy. You got to be handy nowadays, right? Don't let, you talk about gender neutral and everybody's equal. Hey, you got to pick up some power tools, right? But anyway, I say this to say she has to earn this, right? So we're going to schedule some time for her to get over here and do some house cleaning and help out around the house, right? But that's earning her keep, earning your keep. So that's what we're talking about here, is that, you got to have these conversations with your children about financial responsibility. You got to align career goals with financial goals. Okay. When I say alignment, okay, let me get this last bullet point. Let me just touch on this. Stop pretending everything is fine when the budget says otherwise. Okay. These bullets, and these jewels here, these bullets are speaking directly to you. They're speaking directly to you and I. This is what we need to incorporate and be aware of, not only just be aware of, but act on. We have a responsibility to ourselves in being alignment. Most people, when they're frustrated, upset, worried, fearful, doubting, it's because they're out of alignment. Their words, actions, and strategies and plans are not going in the same direction. See, because if your words and your actions are aligning with your plan and your strategy that you've laid out, you thought through, you put down on paper, and you're working toward that, guess what? There's no reason to fear, because you're working towards something. You know your next move. I'm going to get to this. I'm going to get to this. I'm going to get to that. And then eventually I'm going to get to my goal, right? So there's no worry that you went a long way and end up going the wrong way. It's because you laid it out with your alignment, because you were in alignment. Okay? Your actions, your words, your actions, and your strategy and plan are all working as one. Emotions, people saying one thing and doing another. Wonder why you're emotionally distraught. You wonder why you're worrying about, is my relationship on good ground? Well, what are you saying? What are you doing? What are you not doing in that relationship? Whether it be love, business, or just friend. So if you're having issues in any area of your life, check your alignment. If you're frustrated, why? Think about it. Go find a quiet space and see just what's going on from the inside out. And most times you'll have your own answer. Don't go talking to your friend who ain't got no money, right? Don't about financial issues and why, you can't save money. Don't go talking to your friend, your guy friend, or your girlfriend who's not living right in their life, in their relationship, because they're not in alignment. How are you going to get alignment from unalignment from unalignment? Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Right? So make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button at the YouTube on YouTube for the Legacy Insights podcast. Right? We're all going to get in alignment. We're going to get in alignment. We're going to stay in alignment. Okay. So if the family is not aligned, the pressure will divide the house. So call to action. Like I said, you can't have a pillar without some action. Right? You can't stand up if you don't stand firm. Have one family money meeting this week. Sit down with your spouse in your house, with your kids, the dog, everybody, and have a family meeting. Right? They said, I heard this today. You say a happy wife is a happy life, and that's true. But I also heard a happy spouse, a man and a woman, will have a happy house. See, because if you just have one person happy, the other person may not be. But if you have happy spouses, you'll have a happy house, right? So both people need to be happy, right? Both people need to be happy, right? Or it's not going to work. That's called alignment. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Pillar number 5, break the old paycheck mindset. Okay, living from paycheck to paycheck. Listen, we can't afford to do that anymore. We can't afford to do that. Knowing is not enough. Having a paycheck come in the house is not enough anymore, right? The old mindset, my job will always be there. First mistake, hard work alone will protect me. Second mistake, see, working hard only has you hard working. Working hard never just paid the bills or made financial freedom. See, that's the old mindset. And it's an old way of thinking. See, if you're working hard, all you're going to end up is tired and broke. Right? Because your dollar today is going to be less, even more tomorrow. Right? So I'm talking about some common sense things here. Right? I haven't even gone off into like the deep financial conversations, because guess what? That's a one-on-one. Reach out, tap in with me. Hit me up in the comments. Reach out to send me an email. Right? Hit me up in the comments, like I said, DM me, and let's have a real conversation about some financial IQ and how we can apply some of these strategies and tips to your life directly. Get that financial IQ working. Okay? I don't need to learn technology. That's the old mindset. We talked about that early on. I'll start investing later. No, I better start right now. There is so much happening in the investment space, and I'm not an investment leader, but you need to reach out and start learning some of these things. Space is the next frontier. Technology is the next frontier. Chips and computing, next frontier. Communications, next frontier. Water, natural resources, the next frontier. How do you think we're going to get to Mars? How do you think we're going to get out to space? These are all things that are going to have to be in place and working in investments so that we can live greater later, as they would put it, in the future. So if you're young, start looking into these different areas of investing, right? It may pay big dividends, okay? Somebody will warn me before things get bad. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. It didn't happen before, and sure enough, it ain't going to happen now, because they're too busy trying to save themselves, right? We're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. You need to learn, elevate, guard, and get in alignment so that you can change. Okay? Right? You got to do these things. Okay? So this is the new mindset. I must stay valuable, keep learning, own assets, build options. Okay? Because one job, one man, that's old, right? You got to have multiple streams of income. We know this, but are you actually doing it? And do you know what that means? Okay? I must control what I control, right? That's it. You must control what you must be your own advocate. Okay, so here you go. The old plan has worked, and the old plan was work hard and hope. Hope is not a financial strategy. Okay, never was, never will be. Okay, the new plan is learn, elevate, guard, align, change, and become the strongest version of you. That's what this comes down to. So here's the last pillar, number 6. Become the asset. The most valuable commodity or investment that you can make is in yourself. It's in the becoming is that the value comes. When you become the asset, everything revolves around you. That is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. Learn more. Become more knowledgeable about self. They say greater is the man who can conquer self than can conquer many cities. I truly believe that. Right? Become the asset. Right? If the value is in the becoming. Here, you're not just an employee, you're an asset. Your skills, your mindset, your habits, your relationships, your financial discipline, That is your real economy. See, when we focus outside on the world and the news, we get caught in the drift, if you will. We get caught in the drift of, oh, politics. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, people. Stop thinking there's a left and a right and there's a top and a... No. There's only the haves and the have-nots. And which one will you be today? Will you be able to come home and tell your spouse that you're in a better situation tomorrow than you are today? That's all that matters. Will you be able to get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and say to yourself, I'm on my way, or I fell by the wayside? Do you want to wake up one day and not be where you are, where you need to be, right? And later in life, with regrets, and say to yourself, I wish I had? Or would you rather have said, I'm glad I did? There's some things I've heard, and I'm going to share with you before we come to an end here, because, well, I've got a little bit more to go. But I heard a post where there's only two people that you need to please and take care of, and that's the 8-year-old version of yourself and the 80-year-old version of yourself. And that being that the 8-year-old person needs to feel secure, loved, and protection. And once you have that, that inner child, if you will, is satisfied and safe and comfortable. But the 80-year-old version of yourself, God willing, we all make it, is when you look back over your life, have you done the things that you've always said that you wanted to do? Did you live a life worth living for? Did you put a smile on somebody's face? Did you put a smile on your face? Did you achieve some of those things that you wish you had? Because that's what life is all about. It's not about all the things that you acquire. It's about all the feelings in the life that you've lived. So that's really, really big point there. So let's keep it going. So what you want to do is be able to take inventory of your skills, build confidence through preparation, stop hiding from uncomfortable truths, become more adaptable, become more financially aware, become more valuable in every room. So when you walk into that room, people say, and they hear you open your mouth, they know that you're a person of integrity and value, and that you will bring that to their lives and their relationships. They call upping your five, right? So if you hang out with four broke people, you will be the fifth. Okay? If you hang out with 4 people who are going places and doing things, you will be the fifth. Okay? Broke people die slow. Okay? That's a terrible death. I don't want to be hanging out with no broke jokers. Right? No. And if you're the smartest person in your crew, you better get a new crew. I'm not saying that they're bad people. That's not the point. But if you got something in your heart that you know that you should be doing, you better get to it. Because when it's all said and done, you better have done more than you said. Okay? So that financial discipline is huge. So here we go. AI can copy information, but it cannot copy your discipline, your story, your relationships, your leadership, or your hunger. See, so AI is smart, but it ain't human. And the best part about human is just being. It's the human being and the becoming of being more valuable, more humorous, more loving, more spiritual, more responsible to yourself and those that you love and you care about. So here we go. So I want you to commit to a 30-day personal upgrade challenge, right? This show is about building ourselves, building you forward and into the future, right? We only want to get better from here. So Here we go. This is the game plan from the Legacy Insights podcast. I'm going to give you 6 simple steps. Okay, so like I hope you got your pen and your paper out. 6 simple steps, right? We're going to keep this real easy, right? So this way you can't say, well, man, I don't know why you give me all that work, man. It's crazy. No, 6 simple steps. First one, audit your job. What parts can AI replace? Number 2, audit your money. Where is inflation hurting you the most? Number 3, audit your skills. What are you missing? See, you want to build your strengths and prop up your weakness. So if you're missing something in your skill set, look at where that chink in your armor is and put a patch on it. Learn something. Build up that skill, that area that you're lacking in, so that even more of what you're really good at will shine. Right? Because see, that deficit is going to pull down those assets. Okay? Say that again. Those deficits will pull down your assets. Right? So if you've got those skills and you're lacking over here, right, you got to work on this over here so that these really shine. Okay? If you were in the sports, right, you got to put more time in the gym. Right? If you know your free throw at the line is under a certain percentage point, guess what you got to do? You got to do 500, 1,000 free throws a day. If not, 1,500, 2,000 to get that free throw percentage up. This is ready to say Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, right? You got to have that Mamba mentality, not just in sports, but across the board, right? I'm trying to raise my game up. I'm not naturally an A personality. But those who are, they perform at a much higher level. So my goal is to raise myself. Your goal should be to raise yourself. Okay, so let's keep this thing going. Man, here we go. Pick one skill to grow. That's number 5. And then number 6, pick one family financial move to strengthen your household. 6 simple steps in the legacy action plan for you today. Okay? So I don't want you to wait until the layoff email hits your inbox to start acting like your future matters, right? That's too damn late, man. Right? You don't need to wait for the boss to call you down to the office and say, you know what, thank you very much, but your services are no longer needed. Don't worry, we'll bring your box of your personal items down to the lobby. Here, Mr. Security Guard is going to bring them down for you. Okay, that's a little bit too late. And I don't mean to make a joke out of it, but hey, I've been walked out some pretty bad places, right? Hey, what can I tell you? Right? I've been walked out some places, but the key thought here is to make sure that you're not caught by surprise, okay? Because you don't want to wait to the last minute. So here's the final call to action, and I want to thank you very much. Family is not the time. This is not the time to talk to panic. This is the time to prepare. Okay. Just because AI is all over the place and you got to do some learning, don't panic. Don't panic. Just get with the program, right? AI is not the enemy. Ignorance is. Okay. Now, I hope I didn't offend anybody, right? But see, words have meanings. I'm not calling you ignorant. I'm just saying that the lack of knowledge is ignorance, and that's what we need to do here. We need to learn. Okay? Inflation is not the enemy. Lack of planning is. See, so no matter what happens out in the world, it's the home economy that if you're taking care of it, no matter what happens out there, at least you're prepared. Because you'll have that emergency fund. You'll have a budget in place. You'll have the conversations with your family, and you're all in alignment. That if something were to go wrong, these are the things that we need to do, right? Your words, your actions, and your strategy are all working together. Okay, here we go. Job change is not the enemy. Refusing to elevate is. So no matter whether you're in this job or that job, whether it's this widget or that widget that you're producing, all that matters is that you're elevating yourself in knowledge and in action, so that no matter where you land on both feet. Okay, so this is the final call to action. Subscribe to the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube. Every Sunday night at 7 p.m., we're here dropping these jewels. Okay, we're getting better every day, just like you are. Share this episode with someone depending on only their paycheck. Come on now. That's what we're talking about here. All right? That's what we're talking about here. Start using the 6 pillars this week. I laid them all out for you. Learn, elevate, guard, align, change in you. It all comes down to you. Okay? Get your mind and your money right. I love that. Get your mind and your money right. Money's a tool. No one's coming to save you, right? No one's coming to save you. Okay? So your paycheck may feed you today, but your legacy has to feed tomorrow. Let's build it right today. I am your host, Mov'n Mike. This is the Legacy Insights podcast, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. And that is our show for this evening. Have a good night.